She left her phone at home. She never came back. And for 10 years, the man who killed her sat across the dinner table from the people searching for her. This is the story of Haley Dunn. In a Texas town so small that fewer than 4,000 people called a home, everybody knew everybody. Neighbors watched each other's kids. Families had been rooted there for generations. And in that town lived a 13-year-old girl named Haley Dunn. Loud laugh, sharp tongue, tomboy who still loved anything sparkly. She played saxophone, cheered on the sidelines, and dominated volleyball, basketball, and softball courts by 8th grade. Teachers loved her. Friends couldn't get enough of her. She said what she thought and never apologized for it. When her parents split when she was 10, Haley and her older brother David moved in with their mom, Billie Jean, and Billie's boyfriend, Sean Atkins. But distance never touched her bond with her father, Clint. He lived right across the street, and barely a day passed without Haley showing up at his door. Before school, after school for dinner, or just because. Now hold on to that detail, because it matters more than you think. Christmas 2010 was, by every account, perfect. Haley was thrilled with her new iPod. Her grandmother said she'd never seen her happier. She spent 2 straight days glued to her dad's side. Then came December 27th. Her brother David slept over at a friend's that night. Haley stayed home alone, playing video games. Sean left for work at 5:30 a.m. Billie left an hour later for her 12-hour shift. Checking on Haley first. Sound asleep, phone left behind on the nightstand. That was the last time anyone in that house says they saw her. Across the street, Clint waited. And waited. No knock. No visit. Nothing. For the first time in years. His daughter didn't come. At 2 in the afternoon, a text went out from Haley's abandoned phone to one of her friends. Why? What you doing? No reply ever came. That evening, when Sean picked Billie up from work, he mentioned, almost casually, that Haley had gone to her dad's, then decided to sleep over at a friend's house. One problem. Clint says she never showed up at all. Before we go further, where are you watching from right now, and what time is it there? Drop in the comments. I read every one. Now back to the story, because it only gets darker from here. Sean's own account of that day kept shifting. He said he'd blown up at his boss and quit on the spot, driven to his mother's an hour away, then come back. Simple enough, until the evidence started talking. By morning, Haley still wasn't home. Billie called a friend's parents, hoping for a mix-up. There wasn't one. Nobody had seen Haley. Inside her room, nothing was missing. No clothes packed, no bag gone, nothing a runaway would take. Police first labeled her a runaway. That call would haunt the investigation for years. Volunteers flooded the town. The media descended. And a pattern started to emerge that people couldn't ignore. Clint tore through dumpsters and alleys, barely sleeping, consumed by the search. Billie stayed back from the wooded searches, saying she couldn't bear the thought of what they might find. And Sean? Sean barely showed up at all. No flyers. No search lines. No urgency. For days after Haley disappeared, Billie and Sean threw a New Year's Eve party. Clint says he stood on his porch with binoculars, watching the lights and hearing the laughter from across the street, while his daughter was still missing. Search dogs picked up a scent at a local motel. 24 rooms searched. Nothing. No sightings. No trace. Just a town growing more uneasy by the day. By January, the Texas Rangers and FBI were both involved. Over 100 billboards went up with Haley's face on them. Then Nancy Grace put the case on national television, and overnight, a small-town disappearance became a household name. But the real story was happening behind closed doors, and it was uglier than anyone on camera let on. Investigators learned Sean and Billie weren't strangers to police. 10 months before Haley vanished, officers had already been called out to their house, twice, for violent drug-fueled fights. And Haley herself had told her grandmother something chilling. She'd seen Sean's shadow outside her bedroom door at night. She was scared he'd come in while she slept. Both Sean and Billie were asked to take polygraphs. The first attempt got shut down. Investigators suspected both of them were high. Sean walked out twice more. But in one session before he bolted, detectives asked him where he thought Haley might be. Scurry County, he said. Then they asked who the suspect should be. Both of us. The examiner marked those answers as truthful. Here's where it gets worse. Records showed Sean hadn't been fired that day. He quit, and he lied about it. His phone was ping-ing off towers in Colorado City, nearly 50 miles from where he claimed to be, and where he supposedly returned to pick Haley up and send her to her dad's. Cell data put him 20 minutes too far away to make it happen. Meanwhile, David came home that afternoon to a locked house. He had to climb through a window and found Sean standing frozen in the hallway, like he'd been caught doing something. Haley's uncle later said Sean once described hurting a child this way. It's like killing a deer. Bank records showed Sean and Billy hit 2 ATMs the night Haley vanished, pulling out $140 they first claimed was for groceries. It wasn't. It was drugs. And then investigators searched the house and found something that stopped them cold. Hundreds of printed articles on serial killers, sexual sadism, and family murders. If this case has your stomach in knots, that's exactly why you need to stay for what happens next, because it's about to get so much worse. Hit follow now, so you don't lose this one. By February 2011, police found something even darker. Over 100,000 images of child exploitation material, split between Billy's flash drive and a computer in Sean's mother's house. A laptop that had been sitting in evidence somehow made its way back into Sean's family's hands after his stepfather demanded it, and got it. Still no arrest. In March, officers showed up looking for Sean. Billy told them he wasn't home. He was hiding inside. Billy was arrested for lying to police and later took a plea deal. 90 suspended days, a year of probation. She and Sean moved hundreds of miles away, and by 2012, they'd finally split for good. Billy later admitted she'd started to believe Sean had something to do with it. Years passed. Leads dried up. Then, in March 2013, more than 2 years after Haley disappeared, a hiker stumbled onto human remains near a lake 20 miles outside town. DNA confirmed it in April. It was Haley. Investigators believe she died from blunt force trauma. No cause of death was ever officially released. It would take 4 more years before she was finally laid to rest in 2017. Clint never stopped fighting. By 2018, he was saying publicly what he believed for years, that either Sean or Billy had killed his daughter, and the other had helped cover it up. They were both involved, he said. There's no question about it. Then in 2019, someone reached out to Clint out of nowhere, a person who, years earlier as a middle schooler, had stumbled across a handful of Haley's belongings and had no idea at the time what they meant. Seeing Clint's posts online jogged the memory, and they came forward. What exactly was found has never been made public. Around the same time, a private investigator working the case for years, Erica Morse, started hearing from women across West Texas, women being harassed online by a man calling himself Casey. Casey happened to be Sean Atkins' middle name. When one victim tried to file a police report, an officer allegedly brushed her off and accused her of lying. 2 more years crawled by. Then in May 2021, the district attorney called Clint and Erica into a meeting and told them an arrest was coming. On June 13th, 2021, over 10 years after Haley vanished and 7 years after her remains were found, Sean Atkins was arrested and charged with her murder. Billy's reaction said everything. I can't say I'm shocked that it was Sean. As of the following month, Sean sat in jail on a $2 million bond, no plea entered. Investigators have kept much of the arrest warrant sealed, citing laws that protect cases involving child victims, leaving even more questions about exactly what evidence finally brought the case home. Clint Dunn spent over a decade refusing to let his daughter's case go cold. If you think justice took too long in this one, or if there's another case you think deserves the same kind of attention, tell me in the comments and subscribe because we're covering the next one soon.